This episode of Tim and Phill Talk About Games was originally recorded back in the beginning of January 2016. Not only was it the first time that we attempted to record an episode with our longtime collaborator, Megan, but the recordings themselves were plagued with timing errors and clipping audio. 6 months later, and we have managed to salvage the episode, though apologies for the terrible sound quality. More importantly, our massive apologies and thanks to Megan for putting up with us and for the delay in getting this published. We hope you enjoy this episode of TAPTAG, and a language warning ahead for younger listeners. His name's Phill.
And his name is Tim.
And this is Tim and Phill Talk About Games.
A podcast where Tim and myself get together and talk about games we've recently played and discuss topics in the world of gaming.
This week on the podcast, it's time to tackle the topic of avatars and the way in which we choose to portray ourselves in our favourite virtual worlds.
Special guest Megan will be joining us to talk about how the gender and identity of characters we inhabit influence our playing of games. Okay, yeah, so we are back once again to record a podcast, and this time it's a very special podcast because we have a special guest, Megan. Say hello, Megan.
Hello.
So yeah, Megan, most people, if they know the podcast and know us and what we've been doing, will probably know of Megan because she presented with us at PAX Oz 2014 in our first science and video games presentation there.
And would have also presented at 2015 if she didn't have a child.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess we should give a bit of an introduction for people that don't know you. So what kind of stuff do you do, Megan?
So I'm a science teacher, and last few years I've been using video games in the classroom to help teach science, and most recently just published a paper on using Minecraft EDU to teach geology or earth science to high school kids. So yeah,
it was really cool.
Making you the most favourite teacher at the school.
Yeah, well, I like to think so.
Yeah, absolutely. So like what kind of findings did you find from your research?
We surveyed the kids before and after, and we basically found that they were more interested in just science in general and using IT in the classroom. So like they weren't necessarily more interested in learning about rocks, but they were more excited about coming to class and just learning in general. So that was cool.
To be fair, that's a hard sell, though. There are very few things that would get kids more interested in rocks.
Hence the use of Minecraft.
If you're going to be punching rocks, at least it's something.
Yeah. You better get a castle out of it.
Yeah, exactly. So Megan's here to join us on the topic of avatars. So we're going to be talking about how playing as different avatars affects the way that we interact with games, and especially probably trying to make a focus, I guess, on gender in games and how that affects the way that we interact with games. Obviously, Megan, being a girl, has probably had to play a few games as a male, forced to play as a male. So that's going to be interesting getting a perspective on that. Before we do though, what kind of games we've been playing? Tim, maybe
pretty much just Fallout.
Yeah, it's
pretty much just
good.
all of the Fallouts.
Yeah.
I've been crazy busy with work, and even with that, I have somehow managed to log 52 hours.
Oh my god!
What level are you?
Only 21. And that I think should say
level 18, and I surely haven't put in 50 hours.
No, I think that says a lot about how I play these games. Every fork needs to be collected and catalogued. Not just forks either. It was that's an example.
Yeah, I've only played 8 hours and I'm level 12, so I guess that kind of indicates how slowly you're taking it.
Those first 10 levels do tend to fly by pretty quick, but it's one of those games. It's crack for me. It's that OCD. Collect everything, catalog everything, talk to all the people, get all the dialogue out of everything, sneak through every possible back alley. I enjoy the game a lot.
But that's the thing, right? Like usually these games, you're like, you go through a place and it's like, oh, there's an awesome axe or something like that. So say Skyrim or something like that. It's like, oh, there's an awesome axe, but there's all this other junky crap that I don't really need. With the settler system, you need all that junky crap.
Yeah. Yeah, it
you're
makes
just
me
like,
feel vindicated.
Oh yes, duct tape and glue.
Yeah. Oh my god, glue. I
Yeah.
love glue so much.
Yep. Adhesive. Is it vegetable? There's a
Starch,
recipe to make.
the vegetable starch.
Yeah, that's the secret.
Yeah,
Top tip for people out there.
still am not at the point where I can make that yet.
Really?
My farming is lax. It is not yeah.
You should probably get onto that.
Mm.
That's the hot tip. And Megan, you've been playing it on PS4, is that right?
Yeah. I've been. It's a pain
what's
in the
it
bottom
like?
because now I have to get up to swap discs if I want to play Destiny.
Oh, rude.
I know. No, it's good. Look, it's easier for me to play on a console, and I haven't found any problems with it so far. It's pretty good. Apart from like the Pip-Boy menu system, which is a nightmare, but everything else is
It's a
fine.
nightmare on PC.
Yeah, they really haven't nailed it. I don't actually think it really suits either.
Hard for me
No.
to read the writing. It's that small sometimes.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't even thought about that. Huh. Yeah, okay. Well, and obviously you're a big Destiny fan.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. I just sort of started playing and I'm still playing.
I just never stop.
Yeah.
And now my child is 4.
What happened?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've been really lax. I was just having a chat to Megan earlier. She keeps inviting me to parties, and I keep not being able to play because my fiance, that sounds weird to say still, but she uses our PS4 as basically a Netflix machine, and that is all that it has done for like the past 2 weeks. I played one game of Rocket League last week, and this week maybe I'll get to play another, play some Destiny, and then we'll see how that goes. But I actually, so I committed a discretion again recently and jumped back into CSGO.
Forgive me, Father, for I've sinned.
Yeah, it's the problem was that I think it was on Friday night, so last night. I was pretty much Louise, as I said, she was using Netflix, and I was kind of like, I kind of want to watch a show, but I don't really want to watch Netflix or like an actual TV show. So I just started watching esports, and I really love watching esports. Like I just really love it. I think it's just so much better than real sport to watch. And of course, I started by watching like I think Dota, and then I was like, yeah, this is cool, but like, let's see what CS:GO is on. And there was like there's always a channel that shows old tournaments.
Right.
And so I was watching these old like awesome tournament rounds, and I was just like, oh, I really miss CS:GO, and so I started playing CS:GO.
Yeah.
And,
If you would make the most interesting Catholic ever, because if you actually went into confession and were like, forgive me, Father, I've played CS:GO again. He's like, I don't understand. Why is this? Why are you here? Say, you know what? Say half a Hail Mary. That's all you really need.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was brought up Catholic, so I still get the guilt. It's all good. I just don't go to church. That's all.
Actually, on the topic of esports, because I don't like esports
I
at
think
all.
I just pick all the wrong channels to watch, so I find them all boring or just overdone.
I don't enjoy watching other people play games when I could be doing it myself. But that being said, and I had to squeeze it in somehow. But with the recent 2.0 beta of Star Citizen coming out,
God.
no, but seriously, bear with me on this one, because what's happened is a bunch of the people, there are people who've been invited to this special alpha of the Persistent Universe part of it. I have been watching their streams. And this is very new for me, because I've never been enticed to watch a stream before. But watching other people play this thing that I can't get a hold of yet is like crack to me. I have just been... If you look at my Reddit, every single link is purple. Like, they've all been clicked. It's crazy.
Maybe I just need to find the right channel.
Yeah.
It very much is that. I never liked watching streams before I started watching Heroes of the Storm.
Oh, yeah.
And there was a very particular streamer that was just really good about, like, this is why I'm doing this is why I'm playing this way. And it's just really interesting to get someone who has obviously put, like, thousands of hours into playing a game and just talking through what they're doing. Like, it's very... I don't know, it's like watching The Martian and he's talking through everything he's doing with regards to fixing things. It's like
Yeah.
it's just really interesting to get an insight into how other people play games and seeing how that lines up with you. I don't know. And the announcers, I don't know, CSGO is a little bit crap because they're like way over the top, as you guys said. But yeah, I don't know. It just kindled, like you watch someone playing a game that you really love playing and you just want to play it. Like there's just no, yeah. Anyway. That's my excuse for jumping back into CSGO anyway. But yeah, I haven't really been playing much else. Mostly been doing that and doing a bit of game dev as well, which is fun.
Always good to get back into the coding.
Yeah. No, I've actually spent quite a lot of time recently, which is nice. I'm getting somewhere halfway towards an actual game that people might be able to play,
Woo!
which is cool. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's all we've been playing. Anyone else? Anything crazy? No.
Nope.
No.
I still have a moustache.
Yeah, we still have gross moustaches. That's cool. Tell them how much money you've raised. That's pretty impressive.
Oh, I don't actually know the exact number. It is around about $1,300.
Yeah,
Nice.
that's pretty epic.
Yeah.
Pretty good. And you'll be following through with a threat and now a promise to shave your head.
Yeah, if one of the videos ever gets updated to the YouTube account, you'll probably see that the next one I will be bald because I made the pledge that if I raised over $1,000, I would shave my head but keep the moustache. Silly me.
Yeah, so now you're actually going to have to buy a circus ringmaster's cape
Yes.
or
Yeah.
jacket and
Top hat.
I
and,
must say, the $25 that was donated to my Movember this year was for me to not shave my head. So
well, that person's going to be disappointed.
so bitterly disappointed.
But that's good. That's really, really good. And yeah, hopefully in the future you'll see Tim with a shaved head. But yeah, I got to say I'm going to be shedding a tear for all that beautiful, beautiful hair on the floor. But it's for a good cause, so it's okay. Just.
Only barely.
Yes.
But back to the
Alright.
topic at hand, which
Yes.
is
Avatars.
avatars.
Yeah.
Not
Um,
the last airbender.
No, nor
Not this
giant
time.
blue aliens. Nor that. So yeah, so today we kind of wanted to just, I guess, explore the concept of avatars and how they influence how we actually play games. Because obviously, within a game developer making a game, they have to make a choice as to what character or characters you're going to be playing the game through as, and that does certainly influence the way that you play that game because that's the character through which you're going to experience things. So,
And I guess this kind of
thoughts?
came around because when we were playing Fallout, you said to me, obviously you're playing a female.
yeah,
And I was like, actually, no, I'm playing a male this time. And we both realized how weird it was for me because I probably play 70 to 80% of my characters are female if that's a possible choice.
yeah. Megan, do you usually play through as a female? Or
Yeah, if I have the
with
choice.
these kind of games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you play so many games where you're forced, like you said, you're forced to play a male. So then when I get a choice, I'm like, oh, I can play as a girl.
It's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I am actually really, really interested to hear like your perspective on how you deal with the fact that a lot of these games, you like obviously Destiny is one where you can choose to be a female, and I do play as a female, but like other games you played obviously throughout the years, you just would not have had a choice, and you had to play like a stereotypical hero male. Like, do you just ignore it, or how does it actually?
I think it depends on the game and the story, and like if it's not needed to be a male and it's not key to the story, then it's kind of annoying because I'm like, well, why couldn't I have been a female? Like, what is it just for your ease, so you didn't have to develop the models for it to be a girl, or like?
Oh, we've heard that excuse. What was it? Is it Assassin's Creed or something? Where they said
Such
that they...
a goddamn
Like-
cop-out.
Oh.
Yeah, but other games, like one of my favorites is Final Fantasy VII. Like you fall in love with Cloud, like so it doesn't. You don't really want to play a girl because you want to play that character, and that character,
Oh, that's interesting.
that character happens to be male. It doesn't matter. Like same with Lightning in Final Fantasy 13. I don't think it would have mattered if she was male or female, but I just liked playing that character.
Right,
Yeah.
so you're saying if the story is kind of
Or if the
centered
character
around...
is cool enough, or I like the character enough, I don't care what their gender is. But then other games where it's if it's not character based and it's just sort of like I don't know, whatever, you're just running through doing things, and I would prefer to be a female, and so when I don't get a choice, I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. It doesn't really bother me a lot, but I do notice it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I mean, comes back to the point where if you're playing a good character, it doesn't really matter what gender they are. However, it would also be nice if the good characters were also sometimes female.
Yeah. I mean, that's a really interesting point about Cloud, right? Because Cloud's appealing to both females and males, because males, you're like, Cloud's kind of cool and broody, and he's got a massive sword. And, for females, it's like, Cloud's kind of cool and broody, and he's got a massive sword.
and he does cross-dress a little, that was fun.
Yeah. Well, that was that whole weird... Isn't there that whole weird scene in which he cross-dresses, and then, like, it's kind of intuited that they're in a sex parlor? Like,
yeah,
it's this
pretty
weird
much.
hidden scene in Final Fantasy
It's not
VII.
hidden, it's part of the main story. You have to do it
Oh, is
to
it?
rescue, I can't remember if it's Ares or Tifa. Yeah.
Oh, right. I can't remember. Yeah, it's
Been so long.
like over a decade since I played that game. But yeah. Oh, well, that's a really good point, is that as Tim said, if a character is compelling, it doesn't matter what sex they are, you're going to be interested in playing them, but it would be really nice if more times it was actually a female character or a more diverse character.
Yeah, or if the character didn't matter, that you could choose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So say something like Super Meat Boy, or any game that's mechanically just...
Super Meat Boy, though, like, he's a bit genderless, so it doesn't really... I know it says
Meat
boy.
Boy.
I know, but like when his looks, like he's just a cartoon character. I think that's a different. Like when they're just like an animal or a thing.
Well, yeah, it makes no difference what he is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can actually, you can unlock characters that are female or completely non-gendered, like the Bit Trip guy.
Yeah. I think I only notice it when it's like a human character.
Right. So, which game can you remember any games where you were like, oh, for fuck's sake, like, why can't I choose a chick?
Nothing
I should
that
not
got
say the word chick. Sorry, girl, female.
Nothing that made me completely frustrated. But like, for example, I like Ninja Gaiden, and there's not really a strong story, like character-based story. So you could have played as a girl, but
yeah,
it's a guy all the way through.
Yeah. There was never any opportunity to unlock any female characters in that?
No, you only play as the one character.
Oh, right. That's annoying.
In games like those as well, it also, like... So when you can swap between the genders, between characters, because it doesn't make a difference, that's one type of game. But the other one as well is where you can swap between genders and it does make a difference. So your games like your Mass Effects or... your other sort of more story-based games.
Well, even Fallout, your dialogue options change based on whether you're male or female.
Yeah.
Do they change that much, though? I haven't played through as different characters.
In Fallout 3, like, if you're a chick and you got the perk... Sorry, chick, I said chick.
Yes, I'm vindicated.
No, I only said it because you said it. No,
sorry.
like, there's a perk where you can persuade male characters more easily and you get extra dialogue options that wouldn't appear if you're a male, and vice versa. If you're male and you have the perk, you can influence female characters. And it's still in Fallout 4, that perk.
Yeah.
You do have to take the perk, though.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a bit weird to me. Like, the idea, like, for your gender to matter, you have to spend an experience point.
But also, like, I was tossing up whether to get, I think it's the Black Widow perk where you could do more damage to male characters.
Yeah. I think I took that.
I was considering it because all the raiders are male.
Yeah,
pretty
exactly.
much.
But actually, Tim, going back to your point that you have to spend an experience point to make it matter, that's kind of a good choice to make, right? Because you could say to yourself, I don't really want to get that perk because I don't want my gender to matter, right?
Yeah, I guess.
But it's it's extra damage and you get to persuade people, so I took it. It is interesting though, because I don't think I can't remember that many times in Fallout 3, and I didn't play it. I played probably 30 or 40 hours. I don't actually think I finished the main story, which is an eternal failing of mine with these kind of games. I never actually get around to finishing them, but I can't remember too many places where it did make a huge difference that I was a female or male. I have a feeling it was all very small.
It's one of those things. It's the Deus Ex problem in like the new Deus Ex, in that when you take one particular path because you spent points on a particular perk or a particular way of doing things, once you've completed that, you can just then turn around and go back through the one you didn't do backwards, and you can still do it, sort of thing. Like, and it becomes very, very bleedingly obvious very quickly that what they've provided you are 6 different ways of approaching the same problem, but they're all entirely equivalent.
Yeah, right. It doesn't really make that much of a difference to how you'll get to the end.
So, like, for example, in some of the, I think there's one of the quests in Fallout where you can do this, and you can diffuse a situation and not have to go into combat by using your gendered perk. But the problem is, afterwards, the people who are no longer, like, they're not dead because you didn't kill everyone, because you didn't have to take that route. Those people are alive, but meaninless. Nothing happens for them being alive. So you don't get anything extra. There's no divergence in the story. And I totally understand that when you have a game as complex as this, especially in big sandbox games like this, having divergence in these small choices would make things incredibly difficult. But you do feel a little bit cheated.
Yeah. So one thing I was just thinking about is that I know it's very, very basic and very, very kind of obvious and probably slightly sexist, but there are games in which choosing a female versus a male character do matter, and it's kind of those games like the side-scrolling beat-em-ups and that kind of stuff, where the male, if you choose the male, they're kind of slow and strong, and if you choose the female, it's usually like they make up for the fact that they don't do as much damage for some reason, who knows, with like knives as well. Like sometimes it's like they have knives, they make it up with the fact that they're much more dexterous and they can move around real fast. I looking back at it now, it kind of seems ridiculous, but it's like, well, why couldn't you have chosen either of those sexes and then chosen to be either strong or dexterous and not have it really matter so much?
Because you sort of like you have a certain playing style that you prefer, but then they're like, oh well, if you like this play style, you have to be this gender. You can't be the other one.
Yes, I mean, so I can kind of see where they're coming from sometimes, because when you've got very few character choices, for example, if you look at a game like Trine, where you literally just have 3 characters, and though having 3 characters is important to the mechanics of the game, it wouldn't make sense really for you to be able to have 6 characters, one of each gender. Like in that one, the thief is female and dexterous. You could have done it the other way around. I'm not saying it had to be that direction at all. You could have had a male thief who was dexterous, but you can kind of see why they've doubled down on the stereotypical archetypes.
But I mean, that does slightly come into a backstory for each character, I think, a little bit in Trine. Like, it's not a lot, but it kind of, in that case, I think they are trying to, they're trying to kind of get you to do, as we were talking about with like Cloud or someone like that, they're trying to get you to engage with the characters themselves, and they do provide.
They are telling a story.
Yeah. They're trying to tell a story of the interactions between these characters, and while obviously the consideration of the fact that they are probably quite a small company doing this thing does come into it, because you could argue that they could make male and female versions of each character and have them have alternate interactions throughout the game and alternate backstories. That takes a lot of work. So there has to be some consideration towards the actual resources available to the game developer and what kind of choices. Sometimes these choices get made like at the start of the project, and there's just no way for them to vary it by the end of the thing because they just have no money. Yeah,
exactly. Also, the fact that the aesthetic of that game is very storybook. It's that very very typical, young children's. The knight is all like burly and a little bit fat and
a little bit dumb.
A little bit dumb. Yeah, like it's you're playing into the stereotype, which I'm not saying is necessarily a good or bad thing. It's just a thing.
Yeah.
But I think if you're doing it sensibly and respectfully, it's not necessarily as bad as some people might make it out to be.
Well, I mean,
and there can be a lot of humor in it as well, playing up to the stereotype.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's part of telling a story, right? Like it's if it's obvious that they're making an effort to tell a story, and it's not just a choice that they went, right, we're going to aim for the 21 to 35-year-old male market, and we're just going to choose burly hero template number 1.
Yeah. It's when the story,
the whole Dead or Alive route, where we're just going to have women in bikinis with big boobs.
Yeah. I
Don't
can't even.
Yeah.
Oh god, that game.
I mean, confession time. I did play a hell of a lot of Dead or Alive, but it actually turned out that the only characters that we ever played as were the males. Like, I think Kane used to play as like the wrestler, big wrestler dude. I used to play as the old guy that did Drunken Master. Anyway. But I did play a hell of a lot of Dead or Alive, and it did kind of make you a little bit uncomfortable, even back then, and we were like 20 or something like that. So prime marketing time, we were still sitting there just going, it's really weird to play as these characters that are just boobs.
Yeah,
like, it's
just
odd.
fighting bras.
Yeah. Same as Soul Calibur?
Yeah, Soul Calibur.
Yeah, that got out of hand.
Yeah,
real quick.
That was just silly.
Yeah, I remember Andrew used to play as Ivy, and it was just like, what the hell were they thinking with that character? It's pretty bad.
Yeah, they were thinking selling. They were thinking selling units.
yeah, exactly. So in terms of how you guys, I mean, Megan, are you going to go back through Fallout 4 and play as a male character, or?
Nah, I think the time I invest in playing through once will
be enough.
That will be enough. Like, I think if there was a difference to it, actually, no, if I played through a second time, I probably would, just because I'd change up the perks that I chose at the start as well.
Yeah,
but it wouldn't.
Interesting. Would they be strength based?
Well, I went like pretty much intelligence based, because last time when I played Fallout 3, I just didn't do any of the intelligence stuff.
Okay, right.
I did like agility mostly.
Yeah.
So I thought, I'll try something different. Instead of sneaking around, I'll try hacking and like unpicking everything and building things. So I think if I went back, I'd go.
I did the same thing.
Not strength based because I want to play a male, but I think I'd go strength based because I don't normally do that style. So I'd want to try that style. Just bashing everything.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that really jumps out at me is that when you have a game that's written by a developer or publisher, you end up with a very different game when it's written by a writer. And I think that's really well displayed in the recent reboot of Tomb Raider. Well, I don't think I can call it the recent reboot anymore, because it's 2013. So, I mean, this is a game that caused a lot of contention with the whole gender thing, because you're playing as Lara Croft, which shouldn't be weird, because all the Tomb Raider games you play as Lara Croft. But they actually made it more about her being...
it was more about her origin story, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And she's a little bit more vulnerable in this one, because she isn't the Tomb Raider yet. She's just Lara Croft at this point. So there was a bit of contention on the internet about, whether or not this was a good thing, whether we're slipping back into old habits. And then there was the whole scene that people construed as being a sexual assault scene, which it wasn't really, but everything on the internet gets out of hand anyway. So the game was sort of really mired in all this weird controversy that shouldn't really be there. And I think what was lost was just how good the game was, and how good the story was, and how strong Lara was as a character.
Oh yeah, she was great. And I think that's one of the very few games that I've pretty much fully completed.
Yeah, it was the first game that I 100%ed in years, and it was the one that broke my dry spell. But the thing I think really makes a difference here is the fact that both of the writers were women.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so Brianna Pritchett was the lead writer, and the second lead writer. I don't know if she was the secondary lead writer or she was a secondary writer, but that was Susan O'Connor. And I don't know, I think it made a huge difference to how the game felt to me anyway.
Yeah, it was great.
I mean, how about you, Megan? Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, I played. I don't care who it's written by, but it was just a great story, and it played to her the character, the origin story really, really well. And you had to be Lara Croft. You couldn't have been a male, otherwise it wouldn't have been that story. It wouldn't have been
exactly
Tomb Raider story. And I played like some of the original PlayStation, like the blocky, those ones. And like I think what I liked about those games was the puzzle aspect of like getting through the rooms and things. In
those earlier ones, Lara was almost ancillary to the gameplay.
It didn't really matter, I don't think, if it was a male or female. But this one, it did matter, and it was a great story. And I loved that the game, for me, I don't like sinking, like you, Tim, hundreds of hours into, a single game.
Yeah.
I like playing a bit of everything, and I don't really have that a lot of time to do that. And so I liked that this game for me was finishable within a decent amount of time. I didn't have to spend hundreds of hours, and then I could go back and 100% it because it wasn't impossible. Some of the things that you had to do.
I think so. I just quickly looked at my stats. This one took me 20 hours to complete, which is really, really short for a game that I play.
Yeah.
I think it can be done in a lot less than 20 hours, but again, I play things very slowly.
But I thought the story was great, and I don't have an Xbox One, but I would love to play. I would play the next one if I had the chance as well.
Yeah, I've
Xbox
actually.
Exclusive, or?
Yeah, that's.
Oh,
No.
what?
I'm pretty sure it is. I'm pretty sure that's one of their big.
Oh, it's already out.
Yeah, one of their big
Came out
pushes.
last week.
I don't know if you've seen the ad on TV, but they're pushing for their sort of brand and their big characters being Halo,
Right.
her Tomb Raider, and is it Far Cry? Or is it Uncharted? One of those.
Yeah.
And the ad's all about these characters, so it's great to see that they've got some females there finally. But yeah, that's one of their big pushes now. I think they realised how popular it was with that first one.
Well, it shouldn't be that surprising. Like, really.
No, it was a good game.
It was a good game. It was a strong character, and there are other people who play games that aren't 18 to 22-year-old males.
Because when we were writing the paper, I was writing like a small lit review and looking up some stats on how many teenagers or how many people in general sort of play games and things, just to say that, look, the video games are actually really popular. It's not the minority anymore. And,
God's no.
And they were saying lots of women play video games. It's not a minority of women.
Which really shouldn't be surprising.
No.
Like, it shouldn't.
Not at all.
It's as of 2013, I think it was 2013 or 2014, video games was the biggest and the highest grossing entertainment medium of everything.
And I was surveying my students, being in an all-girls school, I was just like, oh, this will be interesting to see. Look, most of them play video games. Not, I must say, consoles was the least. Not many of them played consoles, but most of them played either PC or majority, if not all of them, played mobile games because they all had a mobile phone.
Exactly, and it's accessible.
Yeah, and that was where they played games, and maybe 60%-ish had played Minecraft before. But in the co-ed school, about 90% of them had played Minecraft before.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so with the girls, I don't want to stereotype, but with the people that students I was teaching, pretty much all of them had played mobile games. Not a lot played console or PC, but yeah, mobile games was huge.
I think mobile games has actually been one of the single best things for getting women into playing games.
Yeah, because these girls aren't your typical gamer. They're like
right.
Most of them aren't your typical gamer. They're not into that sort of culture, but they all have a mobile phone. They all get bored waiting for the bus or on the bus.
Exactly, and that's the thing is, so everyone has a mobile phone, which means the bar for accessibility is so low. Whereas it can sometimes be difficult for maybe a younger girl to ask for a console or for a gaming computer.
It's an investment. They're expensive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
And if you just want to play one game, it's not really worth it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a brother,
Rise of the Tomb Raider.
The ones that have brothers or siblings who are into games and do have that on the PC, they're more likely to play because it's just there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Also, good news, Rise of the Tomb Raider will be coming out for PlayStation next year.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there you go. Nice.
So I will play it then.
Yes, you will.
What about
just have to wait a little bit.
or-
Yeah, as Windows as well. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So Windows early
obviously.
2016, PlayStation late 2016.
Yeah. Oh, cool. So it's like one of those limited time exclusives or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so I guess we've kind of gotten away from avatars towards females playing games, but I'm totally cool with that. To give you a pretty good example of when this has been happening with me, Louise has started playing a heap of games recently.
I've noticed that.
Yeah. So during the day, like because she does contract work, quite often she'll be just kind of waiting for work to come in. And so she basically just started doing it by herself. My Steam account is open, like it's fine. She can play it whenever she wants, but she'd never really kind of gone for it. I guess it's sort of always been my hobby, and she has played a heap of games in the past, but she kind of didn't want to. I don't know, whatever reason she hadn't played games for a while. But then she basically took what was it she started
playing? Wasn't it Stanley Parable?
She played the crap out of Stanley Parable for like I haven't even played that game yet because I don't want to overwrite her save.
Oh my goodness!
No, because you can't. You have to completely wipe the save. So she has said that I can wipe it. It's fine, but I'm just so unnecessarily proud of her for going through that game that I don't want to wipe her save. I know that's horribly patronizing, but it's.
You know what you should do? You should get her an account for Steam and then set up family sharing.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what I'm going to do is in our new place, because I still have my old computer just sitting here. I'm going to set up another computer for her and give her a thing and set up the sharing. But the other one that she picked up, because she actually read about it online, I think in possibly Boing Boing or Junkie or somewhere like that, was Her Story, which I don't know if you guys have played or heard about. So Her Story is really cool. It's the kind of experiment or interesting way that someone's obviously just gone, right, I really want to do this thing, and then they've made it work, and it's awesome. Basically, it's kind of a simulation of, and actually this kind of feeds into the Avatar topic, but you're in a system of like an evidence system, and it's videos of like full motion video. So it's like a video of an actual person.
Yeah.
This woman who's been accused of something, and it's just all videos of interviews with her, like snippets of interviews with her, and you have to use the system. And speak of the devil, Louise is home now. You have to use this system to basically search keywords, and each keyword will bring up a different video.
Right.
And you kind of have to investigate what has actually happened with this lady, and it's really clever. And Louise just went nuts for it. Like, she played the heck out of it and unlocked all the different keywords, and because you have to, depending on what videos you watch in what order, will lead you to having like which way you think the story's going, kind of thing. And she played the hell out of it. And ever since then, I made her a little playlist on my Steam account that has like all the games that I think she would like, and she's just been working her way through it, and it's been great because it means we can discuss all this stuff, and I'm getting an idea of what kind of games she likes and why, and all this kind of stuff. So,
which hopefully will make you a better developer.
Hopefully, yeah. Although, I'm way away from
not quite there yet,
kind of thing. But yeah. But it's very interesting to see what kind of games she likes, and it's usually the ones that either have a female protagonist, are interacting with a female in the case of Her Story, or are completely sexless. So she also played about probably 5 or 6 hours so far of Talos Principle, where you're, I think, a robot, totally genderless robot. So it's very interesting seeing which games she picks up and really likes and which games she really just doesn't engage with. And it's mostly been the ones where she's actually able to play as a female character. The other one was Life is Strange, which has picked up a lot of attention lately. But it's very interesting to see, and it's encouraging because it means that hopefully more and more people are going to pick up these games, and that means they're going to make more because obviously the marketers will go, "Ooh, yay!"
Well, I know for my
voting with their wallet.
I know for my students that, I mean, being teenagers, their view on things is very much based on their peers, and so for them, like when we started doing Minecraft, a lot of them who had played it before were like, "Oh, cool, yeah," whereas the other ones who had just seen their brother playing it perhaps and they hadn't actually played it before were like, "Oh, that game," like they thought it was nerdy, and they didn't see themselves as being like nerdy or geeky person, so they didn't see it as being for them. If that makes, so a lot of it's based on image, like, oh, if it, like, for example, one of my students she talks to me about Halo all the time. Like, that's her favorite game.
Really?
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh, you should play Destiny and blah, blah, blah. You'd love it. And, giving her recommendations. Oh, that's right. Because we started talking about Portal and she loved Portal as well. And she just likes first person shooters. But that's really unusual for the girls that I've taught before. Like, it's very much image based, and if they don't identify as being a gamer, they don't have any interest in playing those sorts of games because they don't see it as being for them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, that's a nerdy game the boys play. I don't want to play that. they don't even try. Whereas when we started playing in class, a lot of them actually got really into it. They're like, oh, I didn't realize that's what Minecraft was about. Like, I actually quite like this. I mean,
Which is awesome.
Some of them didn't like it. They're like, oh, no, that's not for me, but they still gave it a go. But yeah, they sort of need that space to be able to give it a go without judgment, and they don't often have that opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
Without buying the game or just without being judged, I guess, by their peers or someone else.
And it shouldn't be surprising when you see a younger person, and especially when a younger female person, colloquially known as a girl, when they... Oh no, people know I'm a robot now. When they say something like that, that sort of makes you realize that they actually do like playing these games, it makes you realize that you shouldn't be so surprised.
No, yeah.
But you always are. Like, so I had an experience a couple of weeks ago where I was in a science center and there was all these green balls on the ground, little like ball pit balls.
Yeah.
Lots and lots of little green balls all over the ground that had been knocked over from an exhibit. And this little girl, and she must have been at most 6 years old, at absolute most, walks past, hand in hand with her mum, and she tugs on her mum's arm and points. He goes, "Mum, look, experience points." And it's because she'd recognized it from Minecraft.
God,
and I was like, oh my god, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard. Like, I can't wait to start getting these generations of kids where no one gives a crap if you're a boy or a girl.
Yeah,
because Minecraft is so big now.
Yeah, the younger kids, it's not. That image thing isn't such a big deal. It's when they become teenagers that it's a big deal. But
Yeah.
you're right. I think the next generation coming through primary school now, it won't be as big of a deal.
Yeah.
But like even now, like raiding in Destiny, because you need 6 people. So normally I have about 2 friends and then 3 people I haven't met before. I've only know through Destiny, so I've never actually met them in person. Sometimes if I'm playing with someone new, they go, "Oh, is that a girl?" And like I'm the only girl in the raid team, and I'm like, "Yes." I actually had someone ask me, "Are you a girl or a boy?" Because I couldn't tell by my voice, and I think they were just surprised that a female was playing Destiny.
Which is funny. So that ties into another thing that I had, which was I have some statistics that I had to look up before the episode. And that's on, especially in MMOs, looking at the ratios of genders that play the games, but also the number of people who do play as the opposite genders.
Yeah.
And so the gender ratio of people who play games on MMOs is obviously hugely swung towards males, unfortunately. It's like 70 to 30%. But then what was interesting is that almost 50% of players, for some cases almost 60% of players, because there are different studies that give different numbers, 60% of players will play as the opposite gender. But only 7% of the women will play as the opposite gender. Almost all of the gender benders out there on MMOs are males. And when they did some surveys to find out why people were doing this, the reasons given for male gender swapping were myriad and varied. They were just all over the place. From, I like looking at the ass of a woman when I move, which is okay, I guess. Sure, if that's your reason, that's fine. I don't want to get into that. Some of them were saying, I don't care what gender I play as. Some of them actually openly said, I like the idea of being more agile. And that ties into the archetype thing again. But when you ask the women why they played as males, almost all of them said it was so that they wouldn't get harassed. Because if they were seen as being a male, and if they, didn't use voice chat, or if they only typed, then they wouldn't get harassed by other players asking if they were a male or female.
Right.
That's interesting.
So that's really interesting to me. And also the other thing was that another study found that the males who play as female characters, the way they interacted with people was radically different. And that,
right.
So if you sort of, hopefully, if these things are transferable and you sort of compare these studies indirectly, that suggests that even the players who aren't playing as a woman to roleplay, and they're not playing as a woman for any, particular game mechanic reason, they just, they like playing as a woman for visual reasons, even some of those people will actually behave more womanly online as a result of it. And that's really interesting to me.
Yeah, I suppose I haven't really ever thought too hard about why I play as a girl in a lot of games. I don't know.
No, I just enjoy it. I like. I don't know. I guess there's a woman inside me that likes to express herself in video games.
No, I think they look like in the ninja games and those sorts of things, like Dynasty Warriors and stuff. I think they have cooler costumes, and not necessarily like Dead or Alive costumes, but I don't know. I just like the look of them better. Like when I want to play like a cool ninja, the girl ninjas look better normally.
Yeah.
I think for me it's mainly just a breath of fresh air, I guess, because a lot of games, the majority of games don't give you the option. So when I do get the option, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm going to play as a girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the point where, and I saw that you wrote this down as well. The fact that when I see advertisements or like the box art for Mass Effect and I see the male Shepard on it, like that looks so wrong to me. Because I've played probably a good couple of 100 hours in Mass Effect, probably more than a couple of 100 hours. And for me, Shepard is female. Like, there is no question about this. And so when I see videos online or I see a poster somewhere and I see the male Shepard, I'm like, who is that? What's going on there? That's not right.
Yeah.
I think there's a difference between games where you're not really putting an emotional investment in, so you don't really care. And then, like you said, for you, Mass Effect, where you do have this big emotional investment, and it does make a difference which one you choose.
Yeah. Then again, I got an emotional investment with the polyhedrons in Thomas Was Alone, so...
Oh, well, that's fair enough, though.
That game made me cry.
That's a very interesting game in terms of how they managed to portray all that with, squares and stuff. It's pretty cool. So we're rapidly approaching an hour. So before we go, let's have a little fun question. Which male or female character would you like to see portrayed as the opposite sex? And would you like to play through a game as the opposite sex? Which let's start with Megan.
Yep.
Oh, that's a hard one. I was going to say GLaDOS as a male, but they did that with Wheatley pretty much.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
Yeah, they kind of did.
Yeah.
No, let me have time to think. You go.
Go, Tim.
For me, it's super easy. Yeah, so it's funny, like, when you said that, one popped into my mind immediately, and I was like, no, that's silly. Pick another one. And I had to think about another one. I'm like, I just kept coming back. And for me, I would love to play a gender-swapped game of Gears of War.
Ooh,
that game would be phenomenal with female characters. But,
that's interesting.
I don't mean just swap the gender out and make, like, really butch women. Like, I would love to see that game actually being told from the point of view of women.
Like in that war.
Yeah. But doing exactly the same thing, like being a complete badass, like just being totally awesome, but not being like super, super testosterone about it. Like actually just being, dare I say, a bit more balanced. But that game also does rely on caricature. So I don't think I would mind so much if the females were a little bit caricatured in it, because that's the art style and that's the storytelling style. But, oh gods, I would love to play that game with female characters. I think that would just be so cool.
Awesome. Yeah, that's a damn good choice.
Thinking about it, I think in the same vein, the Call of Duty series would also be really interesting to apply what you just said, because it is very male based and you don't have a choice, and there is a story. There's very much a story behind it. But... Oh,
absolutely. I play the Modern Warfare games for the story. Like, screw the multiplayer. I play that 6-hour story and I'm done.
So you couldn't just switch it out for a female, but it'd be interesting to see if, like you said, a female version.
No, see, I think in that game you could switch it out. I don't think there is anything specifically male in that game in the single player story.
I suppose it's just very macho.
It is.
Yeah,
it is very, very macho. Although I don't think that women in the army can't be like macho in that respect. I think they could be just as awesome and kick ass.
I mean, I've read stories of even in like World War II where they'd send women as spies, like behind the battle lines, because they were less suspicious, because they were like, as if a woman would be a spy, sort of thing. Like,
so, how you feel?
Yeah, that's pretty cool. For myself, I would really love to see Deus Ex have the option of a female character, even if it's just an option. But I would be really interested to see how they might make a game. I don't think there's anything specifically male, like required in that game. I think you could very easily just have a character selection screen. I just would like to play through a Deus Ex game as a female. Also, like a Shadow of Mordor as a female character would be pretty cool,
Yeah.
I think.
That game
again,
definitely has no gender problems.
Exactly. Again, I don't think there's any real reason why you couldn't. I just think it'd be great to have the option.
I haven't played it yet, so you weren't given a choice.
No.
That's interesting because that Lord of the Rings world is there's a mix of so many males, females, and then elves and orcs and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I mean, it is actually kind of hard to think about maybe like a genre of game that would be nice to play through as a female character, but I don't. It's difficult to think because we play these games and you've got it so fixed in your head that that's kind of the male character. Like it's actually kind of difficult. But
I must say, all the first-person shooters I play are pretty much they're all male-based.
Yeah. But I mean, FPS kind of.
But I guess it's appealing to that male audience, which
shooters.
Yep. But I like shooters. I'm not very I'm not good competitively, like multiplayer wise.
Oh god, who is?
No one actually is. There's only like 8 teams in the world that are actually the best of the best, and then everyone else is a scrub.
Okay,
Let's
good.
face it. Unless you're making money, don't worry about it.
Because you can just from one to the other, you can just sort of pick it up, and the controls are pretty much the same.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
But yeah, it's always guys, as the characters, pretty much.
Yeah, and it's you kind of start to think, well, what even, like we said before, there's no particular reason why it couldn't be a female. There's no mechanic in that's specifically male, and the stories really don't. I would argue for stuff like Call of Duty, the stories aren't male-based stories. It's not telling the story of...
Yeah, even Halo, Master Chief doesn't necessarily have to be male.
No, but you would have to swap the gender of Cortana, I think, at that point.
Oh, I don't know.
You don't have to.
You could... Yeah, I wouldn't have thought you would have to.
There's a very... there's a big... I mean, I'm not saying that they couldn't have a same-sex romance, but there is a big romance thing between Chief and Cortana.
I guess if you... Yeah, but... You
could be
still,
same-sex.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
I mean,
so I guess what I say, one thing
not
that frustrates me... Well, I don't know. One thing that frustrates me, though, is when you can swap your gender, and there is a fixed romance in it, you're then either forced... You're forced to do some weird things. You're either forced to make all your romance options bisexual, which can feel a little bit weird. I think Mass Effect did it the best it can probably be done, in terms of not making it too weird. But... people do sometimes feel a little bit weird. I know some people are weirded out when they play as a guy and a guy hits on them in a game and they feel weird about that. That's their prerogative. It's fine. I don't find it weird, but I know I'm not normal either. So,
well, you're what should be normal.
Well, I would like to think so.
You're accepting of all things.
But so you either have to make all the character options bisexual, or you need to force people into possible same-sex relationships that they might not feel comfortable with. So then either you need to swap the genders of the opposite things, or you need to give people the option of choosing the gender of the NPCs. And that enters a whole weird world of...
No, but I don't think necessarily that you do need to do that, because going back to our earlier point about making sure that it's okay to restrict a relationship or restrict a choice of gender as an avatar if it's meaningful. So if it doesn't say making the example that you gave of making all relationships able to be bisexual, basically, if it's not meaningful on both sides of that coin, I would rather they just say, okay, this particular interaction between these guys, if you're a male and it's a female, you can do that one. But if you're a female and she's a female, then we're not going to do it because it's not in keeping with that character.
Right,
if
I agree.
All characters were built to be bisexual, it would take something away, I think. I just think making sure that the option is on the table is the important thing. Not necessarily
I agree,
making
but the
so
problem
that
is,
all options are on the table.
if you do it with Master Chief, you don't have a second Cortana option.
Right.
So then if you played Master Chief as a female,
yeah,
and you didn't swap Cortana,
yeah,
and then you made it so that there wasn't that same relationship between Chief and Cortana.
But I'm saying, if you gender swap to Master Chief and it was same sex, yes, some people might not like that, but some people might not like it as it is. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
I'm just saying, first-person shooters, the character you play is normally male, and it's just rare to find, like, female characters where there's
I'm trying
a
to
story.
think of any. I'm trying to think of literally
Samus?
any.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Samus in
Samus
Other M.
But then it was almost like you're a robot. You don't know if you're a male or female, like, sort of to start off with.
Yeah, it was a big reveal, I guess.
Yeah, which is
then
cool.
The second one. Yeah, no, it was very cool.
But yeah, it's all the ones that are storyline based, where there are characters, like Assassin's Creed, pretty
Almost
much
exclusively male.
Yeah.
I'm struggling to think. I mean, probably the most recent example of some kind of cool character designs, but have absolutely zero story or development or anything behind them, was Blizzard's upcoming FPS, team-based FPS,
yes.
Overwatch.
That looks very cool.
But they've also fallen into the trap of making like half of the female characters really friggin' skimpy, like models and all that
And
kind
skinny.
of stuff. So it's just like, and skinny. Although I mean, there is one like kind of chunky girl, and it's like, but then she's like the strong character. For God's sake, like, come on, guys, let's just.
But I guess they are also a bit cartoony as well.
Yeah,
so...
I know. But when like the sniper like pretty much has like straps over her boobs, and it's just like, oh, come on.
No one dresses like that.
No one dresses like that's not combat ready. What the? Destiny is actually probably one of the better games for this. Like, your armor as playing as a female character is not. It's not revealing. It looks battle ready, but it still looks cool.
You still have noticeable boobs, but it's not too bad.
Yeah, but if you were.
It's
I
like,
feel like
you know, the new Star Wars
practical.
movie. How I can't remember the name of the bounty hunter character.
Yeah.
How someone said, "Oh, but it doesn't look like a girl, the armor and stuff," and they just said, "Why?
Why would it?"
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point.
So the Destiny, I agree. The Destiny stuff is good. You still got the female shape, but it's not like Soul Calibur sort of stuff.
It's not
There's
like
not
you
that
can
much
adjust-
shape.
Yeah, it's not like there's an option in the menu, which I think Soul Calibur had to, when you were creating a character, you could like change how big the boobs are, and it's just ludicrous. Like, if you go to 99 or something like that, it's just like, oh.
I must say, I did like in Fallout 4 how you could change. There was a lot of freedom to change the body shape of the male or female characters. I quite liked that.
Mm. Yeah, people have done some. You can look it up online, but people have done some crazy, basically portraits of like, you know, famous people in that game. It's nuts. Like, it's actually really creepy how good they look. But yeah, I think we're hitting around about an hour, so it might be time to wrap up.
Okay.
If anything else you guys wanna say? Anything else? I don't know, final messages.
I just started thinking about like body image for, teaching teenagers, like that whole, when you do see a female character and they are the curvy, you know, skimpy costume, that whole body image thing it's horrible. And like, I only cosplayed twice for PAX, and I'm looking for female characters that like aren't skimpy, because I don't like walking around all day in a bikini. I mean, some people do, and yeah, that's cool, but I don't. And so
not me.
Yeah, not me. And so it was hard to find like a mainstreamy kind of character that people would recognize that wasn't that I could cosplay easily without showing off my midriff.
But you can't do Shell from Portal every year.
I was going to say,
it's
it's Shell or I don't know. It's really hard.
Samus would be really cool, like with the whole armor suit, but I just don't have that time. But yeah,
that's too much effort.
But yeah, so I mean, even Tomb Raider.
You could do Lara.
Tomb Raider was my second choice. Actually, I was going to do the new Lara Croft. I saw some really good ones of her walking around.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I saw a couple at PAX 2015. So,
but that's a whole another issue. Like, not only, like you said, having the choice to play, but then the look of the choice.
That's a good point, actually, because
the male characters, normally there's a lot of customization, or they're wearing armor or whatever, and it doesn't really matter. But yeah.
I mean, and you can also make the argument that a lot of males might feel that they want to have a character with different body types as well.
Rather
not
than
everyone
just
wants
the
to play
bulky,
as a muscly.
Yeah.
But Gears of War, but with skinny dudes.
But then like you said, like the skinny dudes are normally the nerds who aren't strong and can't do this and that, and
Yeah, they're the hackers.
yeah.
I think. I mean, all stereotypes are harmful to different extents, but obviously the female ones are just so obviously ridiculous that they're kind of the ones that you want to fix first, I guess. Is the thing.
Cool.
All right, we've got to wrap it up.
Okay.
So that I can go play some Destiny with Grant. That'd be great.
I can play more
so
Fallout.
Yay! So thank you for listening. Thank you, Megan, for joining us.
Oh, no worries.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on the web at timandphill.com, on Facebook at facebook.com/timandphill. Both of those are with 2 L's. How can people find you, Megan?
Oh, look, Science Ninja Gal, that's GAL, not girl. On Twitter, but I don't use it very often, so I might not reply straight away.
That's fine. I'm really bad with Twitter nowadays. But yeah, if you want to contact us directly, you can find Tim on Twitter at Dungeon Master, or add him as a friend on Steam as Jatus, which a lot of you did after PAX Oz, which is
Yay!
good.
More friends.
Or at his website, which is CorsairsAnchorage.com. And
you can find Phill on Twitter at ToothSoup. Add him as a friend on Steam as Apothecary, which is APOCATHARY. Or you can find him at his regular website, which is toothsoup.com. Thanks for listening.
And happy gaming!